Kaiba works because Yu-Gi-Oh! Needed someone who treated the entire card game like it was a military campaign, a business merger, and a personal insult at the same time. From the moment Kaiba enters the story, he is ridiculous in the exact way Yu-Gi-Oh! Needs him to be ridiculous. He is a teenager running a giant corporation, wearing a trench coat like he is about to declare war on weather itself, and spending unlimited money on the serious global issue of owning better cardboard than everyone else. On paper, this should make him impossible to take seriously. In practice, he becomes one of the most important characters in the whole show because Kaiba gives the story weight even when the story is being completely insane. His first purpose is simple. Kaiba is the rival. He is the person Yugi has to overcome early on to prove that this world has real stakes. Kaiba is rich, brilliant, cruel, and obsessed with winning. He does not just want to defeat Yugi. He wants to prove that Yugi's entire way of seeing the game is childish. Yugi believes in friendship, trust, heart, and all the things Kaiba hears as background noise while he is calculating how much it would cost to build a private island shaped like his own ego. Kaiba believes in power. He believes in preparation. He believes in owning 3 Blue Eyes White Dragons because apparently one legendary monster was too emotionally modest. That is what makes him so immediately hateable. Kaiba begins as someone who does not respect people unless they can beat him. He looks at other duelists like they are technical problems. He treats kindness like weakness. He takes Grandpa's card, tears it up, and acts like the crime was not personal because to him, the card only mattered as an object of rarity and value. The fact that it meant something to someone else barely enters his mind. Early Kaiba is not just arrogant. He is arrogant with money, which is a very special kind of annoying. Normal arrogance already does enough damage. Arrogance with helicopters becomes a public safety issue. But even in that early version, there is a reason people keep watching him. Kaiba is hateable, but he is never boring. He is not a weak villain pretending to be dangerous. He is actually dangerous. He builds systems. He thinks ahead. He adapts. He is one of the few characters in the show who can lose and still feel threatening afterward. When Kaiba loses, he does not disappear into the background and learn pottery. He returns with a new machine, a new tournament, a new strategy, or a new building that looks like it was designed by a man who has never once been told no. His arc begins with humiliation. Losing to Yugi breaks something in him because Kaiba has built his entire identity around being unbeatable. He does not simply like winning. He needs winning to prove that his view of the world is correct. If he wins, power is all that matters. If he wins, emotions are distractions. If he wins, no one can touch him. So when Yugi beats him, it does more than take away a victory. It challenges the entire structure Kaiba has used to survive. That matters because Kaiba's arrogance is not random. It comes from a life where weakness was punished. His childhood with Mokuba and his adoptive father explains why Kaiba became so hard. He learned early that the world was not gentle. He learned that love did not protect you unless power stood behind it. He learned that intelligence could be used as a weapon, and he became very good at using it. By the time we meet him, Kaiba is not just a rich brat. He is a person who has turned himself into armor. The one crack in that armor is Mokuba. Mokuba is the easiest way to understand Kaiba without excusing everything he does. Kaiba can be cruel, selfish, obsessive, and almost comically allergic to basic human warmth. But when Mokuba is in danger, the mask slips. He is capable of love. He is capable of loyalty. He is capable of fear. He may act like emotions are for people who cannot afford private jets. But Mokuba proves that Kaiba's heart is still there. It is just buried under 12 layers of trauma, pride, and whatever fabric that coat is made from. Duelist Kingdom is where Kaiba becomes more than a rival. Pegasus takes Mokuba, traps souls, and turns Kaiba's world against him. For a character who believes in control, this is the perfect punishment. Kaiba has money, technology, security, and status, but none of it protects him from Pegasus. He is forced into a situation where he cannot buy his way out, cannot intimidate his way out, and cannot fully understand the rules because the rules are not just physical anymore. There is magic involved. Kaiba hates this deeply, which is understandable. If you spent your whole life building a tech empire and someone defeated you with ancient mind powers, you would probably be a little irritated too. His duel with Yugi in Duelist Kingdom shows both sides of him at once. Kaiba is desperate to save Mokuba, and that desperation makes him sympathetic. He is not fighting for pride alone. He is fighting for his brother. But he also manipulates Yugi emotionally, putting himself at risk and forcing Yugi into an impossible choice. That is Kaiba in one scene. He loves his brother enough to do anything. He is also willing to use that love as a weapon against someone else. The audience can understand him and still want to shove him off a balcony, which is basically the Kaiba experience. That is why he is likable and hateable at the same time. Kaiba has real principles, but they are often surrounded by terrible behavior. He loves Mokuba. He keeps his word when it suits his code. He respects strength. He works harder than almost anyone. He does not whine when he loses. He just becomes more intense, which is not always healthy, but it is good television. At the same time, he insults everyone, refuses to listen, mocks anything emotional, and treats the concept of friendship like Yugi invented it to avoid paying taxes. Kaiba's purpose in the show is to challenge Yugi's worldview. Yugi believes that the game reveals character. Kaiba believes the game reveals superiority. Yugi values bonds. Kaiba values results. Yugi sees the cards as connected to people, memory, trust, and spirit. Kaiba sees the cards as tools. Strong tools, expensive tools. Tools that can apparently justify building a stadium, launching a tournament, and reshaping large parts of the city because he felt competitive one morning. Battle City is where Kaiba becomes even more interesting, because he is no longer just reacting to Yugi. He creates the stage. He organizes the tournament. He sets the rules. He turns the entire city into a proving ground because Kaiba cannot simply ask for a rematch like a normal person. He has to make it an international event with blimps, locator cards, rare card betting, and a corporate infrastructure that probably gave every lawyer at Kaiba Corp a migraine. But Battle City also shows how useful Kaiba is to the story. He brings structure. Yu-Gi-Oh! Can go into ancient spirits, shadow games, destiny, lost memories, and world-ending magic. But Kaiba keeps dragging the story back to competition. He is the skeptic in a universe where skepticism becomes funnier every season. He sees people collapsing, glowing symbols, ancient prophecies, and monsters that may be spiritually real, and his response is still basically, nice trick. Anyway, my dragon has more attack points. That should make him look stupid, but somehow it makes him stronger as a character. He refuses to surrender his worldview because surrender would mean admitting he is not in control. That stubbornness is both his flaw and his charm. Kaiba's denial of magic is not just a running joke, it is part of his identity. If magic is real, destiny may be real. If destiny is real, Kaiba may not be self-made in the way he believes. If ancient history and chosen souls and spiritual bonds are shaping the game, then his victories and losses are not purely the result of intellect and power. Kaiba cannot accept that. He has built himself around the idea that he alone determines his worth, so he keeps resisting. He keeps calling it nonsense. He keeps pretending the supernatural side of the story is beneath him while repeatedly being surrounded by evidence that would make any reasonable person take a day off and rethink a few things. Kaiba does not take the day off. Kaiba doubles the budget. That is part of why he is so entertaining. Kaiba's confidence is absurd, but it is not empty. He is actually one of the best duelists in the series. When he talks down to people, it is irritating because he means it, but it is also hard to dismiss because he can usually back it up. A worse version of Kaiba would just be a loud bully. The real Kaiba is a loud bully with results. He studies the game, builds his deck carefully, reads opponents well, and takes enormous risks because he believes in his own ability to make those risks work. He is not coasting on money. The money helps, obviously. Having a corporation behind your deck is a slight advantage, just a minor one. Barely worth mentioning. But Kaiba's skill is real. His rivalry with Joey helps show this. Kaiba treats Joey terribly. He mocks him constantly, underrates him, and refuses to give him respect, even after Joey proves himself again and again. This makes Kaiba look petty, because he is petty. Very petty, Olympic level petty. But the dynamic also reveals something important. Joey represents the kind of growth Kaiba has trouble respecting. Joey improves through loyalty, heart, stubbornness, and experience. He loses, gets back up, learns, and keeps fighting. Kaiba sees that as messy and undisciplined. He wants greatness to look controlled, polished, and undeniable. Joey's entire existence annoys him, because Joey keeps surviving without fitting Kaiba's idea of what strength should look like. With Yugi, the problem is deeper. Kaiba cannot dismiss Yugi, because Yugi keeps beating him. That creates the central tension of Kaiba's character. He hates Yugi, respects Yugi, needs Yugi, and cannot fully admit any of it without feeling like he has lost another duel. Yugi is the standard Kaiba keeps trying to surpass. Every time Kaiba says he does not care about destiny or friendship or ancient magic, he is still building his life around defeating the one person connected to all of those things. He rejects Yugi's values while being completely shaped by Yugi's presence. That is a strong rival dynamic because Kaiba does not secretly want to become Yugi. He does not want to soften into the same kind of hero. His arc is not about turning into a friendly team member who gives speeches about unity. Kaiba changes, but he changes in a Kaiba way. He becomes less cruel. He becomes more capable of cooperation. He shows more concern when the stakes are serious. He helps when he has to. But he never loses the edge that makes him Kaiba. He remains arrogant, impatient, and dramatic enough to make every entrance feel like a lawsuit is about to happen. That is important. A weaker arc would sand him down until he becomes polite. That would ruin him. Kaiba is likable because he remains difficult. His growth comes through action more than confession. He will not sit everyone down and explain that friendship has changed his heart. He would rather be trapped in a shadow game for 6 hours, but he will show up. He will fight. He will protect Mokuba. He will contribute when the world is at risk. He will help Yugi while acting like helping Yugi is an unfortunate side effect of his own superior plan. That is the dry beauty of Kaiba. He can save the day and still be rude about it. His purpose also goes beyond rivalry. Kaiba represents the modern world pushing against the ancient world. Yugi's story is tied to old spirits, forgotten history, destiny, and memory. Kaiba is technology, capitalism, ambition, and ego. He builds hologram systems, virtual worlds, tournaments, and arenas. He takes the mystical game and turns it into a global industry. In a strange way, Kaiba is the reason Yu-Gi-Oh! Feels like a world instead of just a fantasy plot. He commercializes the magic without believing in it. That is insane, but also very efficient. Through Kaiba, the show gets to ask whether strength without emotional openness can ever be enough. Kaiba is strong, he is brilliant, he is brave, he is loyal to Mokuba. He is also lonely, angry, and trapped inside his own pride. He wins many battles, but he struggles with peace. He can defeat enemies, build companies, and challenge gods, but accepting emotional truth is harder for him than summoning a dragon with 3 heads. To be fair, in Yu-Gi-Oh!, the dragon may actually be the easier part. By the later parts of the story, Kaiba has changed enough that we know he is no longer the same person from the beginning. He is still Kaiba, but the cruelty has more limits. He understands stakes beyond his own pride. He still refuses to bow to destiny, but his actions show that he does care about more than victory. His connection to Mokuba remains the clearest proof. Mokuba is not just a soft spot. He is the reason we can see the human being behind the ego. Without Mokuba, Kaiba might just be a rich rival with excellent posture. With Mokuba, he becomes a damaged older brother who built an empire because he never wanted to feel powerless again. That is why Kaiba's arc works. It does not ask us to forget the awful things he does. It does not turn him into a saint. It lets him remain arrogant while slowly revealing where that arrogance came from. It lets him be funny without making him a joke. It lets him be heroic without making him gentle. He can be impressive and unbearable in the same scene, sometimes in the same sentence. And that is the balance that makes him one of the best characters in Yu-Gi-Oh! He is hateable because he treats people badly, worships victory, and acts like every room becomes more important once he walks into it. He is likable because he has standards, courage, intelligence, loyalty, and a refusal to surrender that can become genuinely inspiring when aimed in the right direction. Kaiba is what happens when trauma, genius, money, and a dragon obsession all get locked in the same person and nobody sensible intervenes. His role is to stand across from Yugi and say, "Prove it. Prove friendship matters. Prove heart matters. Prove destiny matters. Prove there is more to this game than power." Kaiba forces the show to defend its own beliefs. Without him, Yugi's ideals would have less resistance. The speeches about trust would be easier. The victories would feel softer. Kaiba makes the story sharper because he refuses to believe in anything until it beats him. And even after it beats him, he asks for a rematch. That is the core of the character. Kaiba is a rival, a skeptic, a brother, a genius, a jerk, and one of the only people in anime who can make "I have a better card" sound like a philosophical position. He is the character who can ruin someone's day, save someone's life, insult everyone involved, and leave convinced he was the only adult in the room. And honestly, half the time, he might be right. That is why Kaiba lasts. Not because he becomes easy to love, and not because the show pretends he was secretly nice the whole time. He laughs because he is complicated in a way that is always entertaining. You want him to lose because he deserves it. You want him to win because he earned it. You want someone to humble him, and when someone does, you immediately want to see how he comes back from it. Kaiba is the perfect Yu-Gi-Oh! Rival because he takes the game too seriously in a world where taking the game too seriously is somehow the correct response. Everyone else is fighting for friendship, destiny, memory, or the fate of the world. Kaiba is fighting because he refuses to be second. That should make him exhausting. Instead, it makes him unforgettable.